What's up, YouTube? Back again with another video. In today's video, we're going to be starting the series, Let's Talk Call of Duty. And this series is kind of going to go over everything from every COD ever. We're going to be doing episodes on every gun in Call of Duty and its backstory. We're going to go over different maps and all types of cool things and stories and what the stories mean, zombies and what the zombie storyline is, all types of cool things throughout the journey of this series. Today's first video, we're going to discuss the CODs and how they released, when they released, how much they earned, who developed them, and so on. This video is more in the lines of just kind of an intro video, so we'll see how it goes. So, Call of Duty was founded in 2002 to 2003, Infinity Ward being the first company to come out, which was in 2003. It would be officially instated. Now, some things that I should mention so that people understand me is I've been playing Call of Duty for about 14 years. Competitively, I played for about 5 years, for about 5 to 6 years before taking a break, and then recently I have been getting back into the competitive scene a little bit. So it's safe to say that I know a lot about Call of Duty. I've been playing it for a very, very long time. Put thousands of hours in pretty much every title. And so I think I've learned a thing or two over the years. So just, you don't have to trust everything I'm saying. For the majority of everything I'm saying is coming from reliable sources. And it's coming with passion and not just reading off of someone else's opinion. So in 2003, we had Infinity Ward come into the scene with the first Call of Duty, which would be obviously Call of Duty. Paid $4.5 million. It would be the only Call of Duty that would have a 2-year period between its release and the next release. The only COD in history. A lot of people didn't know about this. A lot of people, when they think about Call of Duty, they think about it, every year. But the first title was not indeed that way. Then in 2005, we got Treyarch, arguably, in my opinion, one of the worst companies in the franchise. They had barely at all innovated when it came to Call of Duty. They were kind of the embodiment of lazy, in my opinion. And I am going about, I'm saying that to Black Ops 2 as well. I don't ride those games as hard because I played them as a player and I knew exactly what the bullshit was. Now, when Treyarch came onto the scene, they didn't actually drop a Call of Duty game, fondly enough. In 2005, we would get Call of Duty 2, which was made by Infinity Ward, and would make $5.9 million in sales. Now, these numbers that I'm going to be listing off are just sales numbers, and from what I could understand from research, that's just the physical copies made, okay, and sold. That's not coming into that's not collecting the amount of money made off of like DLCs, or if they have microtransactions and no microtransactions, as well as not basing off of copies that were developed and printed and not sold. It's only off of copies of the game that were sold, from what I understand. And then in 2006, we would be fond enough to get Call of Duty 3 by Treyarch. Now, I always thought that was really fascinating that the first two CODs were made by Infinity Ward, and then suddenly the third one was made by a different company. So they would have about a year from 2005 to develop the third COD. And that would make over $7.2 million in sales. 2007 would be the first edition of the Modern Warfare series with COD 4 Modern Warfare, made by Infinity Ward at $15.7 million. And I want you guys to pay attention to the numbers because they grow quite high. And then leading up to this year's Call of Duty are staggering amounts of money. 2004, as we all know, did not have a game. But 2005, 6, and 7 were pretty successful years for Call of Duty. But then they kind of stalemated around 2008 with World of War, which made the exact same amount as MCOD 4, MW. with 15.7 million. I don't remember that year or that era fondly, like that well, anyway. I remember playing those titles at launch on my PS3 and Xbox 360. But I do remember playing them hard in the 2011s. COD 4 is renowned as one of the best COD titles probably ever developed, in my opinion. Now, I do think there is better CODs out there now. Things like Infinite, Ghost, World War II, Modern Warfare 2 2022, MW2 2009, and MW3. But COD 4 just changed the whole game overall. It brought in a new era for the gaming industry, unlike we've ever seen before. And that kind of would continue after World at War as well. Because in 2009, we have Modern Warfare 2 made by Infinity Ward, making a grand total of $25.2 million. By this point, it would be the most sold COD yet. But it would get toppled less than a year later in 2010 with Black Ops 1 made by Treyarch at a staggering $30.72 million. That was a crazy, crazy year. I remember Black Ops 2 a lot. I remember when that came out. I was still very, very, very little, but I was good at COD at that point. I had just got off of MW2 and I had over 3,000 nukes at that point on MW2, so I was doing okay. Now, this is where things get a little interesting, because in 2011, which is 1 year after Black Ops 1's release, we have a new franchise coming into the scene, Sledgehammer Games. A lot of people don't realize how old Sledgehammer Games truly is. They've been around for almost a decade when it comes to Call of Duty. 2011 brought Sledgehammer Games, and they also co-developed that year's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Made a grand total of $30.71 million, so less than $1 million off of, like $500,000 or some shit, like off of Black Ops 1. 2012, let's see the first Black Ops 2 title release. And I say the first because I like to say that there's multiple renditions of Black Ops 2 releases. I feel like there's the original release, and then I like to say there's generational releases that happen every couple of years for new generations playing older Call of Duties. But that year would see 31 million sales in the whole year. But it's also the first full space number sale. So every other sale at this point has been 4 point, 5 point, 15 point, 30 point, 25 point. This is the first whole number, so it's just a flat 31 million. 2013, we had Ghost, made by IW or Infinity Ward. $28.98 million in sales. It was also the first next generation title at that point, which would be the PlayStation 4. And it would also be the very first key title not to be on the PS3 as well. I lie. It's not the last PS3. But it is the first next generation title that will still be on a PS3 is what I mean. We had Advanced Warfare made by Sledgehammer Games in 2014 with $21.76 million in sales. You could argue that was the last next generation console game that was not on PS3, but I would argue that the PS3's Call of Duty Ghost was the last title they actually cared about on the old generation. As someone who played thousands of hours on the PS3 AW, and then coming to PS4, it's a completely different game on the next generation. And then obviously we had Black Ops 3 in 2015 with $26.72 million. That would be the official last PlayStation 3 Call of Duty ever be released. But that wasn't even made by Treyarch. That was made by a third-party college team or some shit. And we don't discuss that. And then in 2016, we had the amazing Infinite Warfare release alongside Modern Warfare Remastered. Made a total of $13.6 million. The sales for MWR are kind of skewed and unreliable due to the fact that the beginning half of the year, MWR was tied in with IW, and then it would go separate later on down the line, which kind of skewed some of the numbers. 2017, we had World War II made by Sledgehammer Games. Fantastic title at $19.82 million. And we're in this little rut between IW and BO4 of the low numbers. Then we'll jump back up to high numbers again. So with Modern Warfare 2019, we had $30 million in sales, and it was the first game in the series to have a free-to-play Warzone, which I think is pretty cool. I did skip BO4. It tells you how bad that game is. I skipped it. BO4 came out in 2018, as everyone knows, with $14.3 million, and it would be the first COD with no story, and also the first COD with a Battle Royale. Again, probably the biggest mistake Call of Duty-wise ever made. Yeah, bad time, bad year. And then 2020, we had Cold War made by Treyarch, which would be the first PlayStation 5 title, $30 million in sales. Vanguard was made by Sledgehammer Games and co-developed with Treyarch. Treyarch did the zombies. But the sales are actually not available. So if you look up online, it's going to be, if you find numbers for Vanguard, they're very skewed, and the ones that aren't skewed are just non-existent. They're not applicable, pretty much. Then in 2022, we had MW2, made by Infinity Ward at a dazzling $800 million in sales the first year. And then obviously this upcoming title is Modern Warfare 3 at made by Sledgehammer Games and co-developed by Infinity Ward. And Raymond Software, I forgot to introduce this earlier, but Raymond Software was introduced in 2016 to present day. So they were introduced the same year Infinite Warfare came out. Platforms that Call of Duty has been on over the years has been PS5, 4, 3, and 2, Xbox and Xbox 360, Xbox One, S, and X. The Wii and Wii U, GameCube, OS X, Windows, iOS, Android, BlackBerry, and J2ME, which I've never heard that before. And then obviously, for everyone that doesn't know, Activision owns, which is basically the publisher of Call of Duty. Basically, all that means is they pay Call of Duty to say, hey, we'll pay you to do this game, and then they communicate that way. They have no direct influence upon the game from my research. They've just signed the checks. But in recent years, they have dabbled their fingers into influencing the game recently with skill-based matchmaking. But what can you do? So that's the video, guys. I don't know how much of that you guys will be interested in listening to. It'll get more interesting throughout. I'll give more opinion-based stuff here in the future. But this is more of a video to get you a base understanding of Call of Duty, the release times, the developers, and the money they made. So when we go through stories and stuff and later down the road, we have a better understanding of everything. So again, thank you guys for watching this video. I love you guys. You're awesome, one of a kind. And I'll be live streaming probably tomorrow, so make sure you catch that. And yeah, you're awesome, and have a great day, guys. Peace.